All right, yo. Um, week 10, mid-season recap. So let's start with the performances of the week. We had multiple great offensive performances. Um, we had a couple teams that had complete team performances. Myself, AJ. But this week, I'm going to give the performance of the week for something else. Because this manager put together very good moves to set themselves up for success for the rest of the season. And that is going to be Moises. So Moy got the performance of the week. Moy had a lot of injuries on his pitching side and has still maintained success with a lot of his offense carrying the load. But as soon as Chris Sale started taking off, he goes down injury. Then he had a couple other guys go injury on his SP rotation. And what does he do? He picks up Shane Bieber in a trade from me and Lucas Giolito in a trade from Adam. Now he has a solid 5 SP, getting ready for the second half of the season. Didn't have to give up any positional depth, any height. I mean, he has depth, quality depth in players he did trade, so he didn't really lose anything there in terms of production, and didn't have to trade any draft picks. So performance of the week goes to Moy for acquiring 2 good starting pitchers, fill that hole, give himself a complete team, and ready for a push in the second half of the season. So let's go to the results for this week. We had a few teams get to 500. The top 3 stay the same, and the bottom 4 stay the same, but a little bit of movement in the middle. But with the win, AJ gets a win over Dale. Moy gets a win over Carlos. I got a win over Joe in a really tight matchup the whole way through. Like I said, it was no exaggeration. We had 15 to 20 lead changes in our matchup. But tough matchup against Joe. Alejandro with a win over Ray. Adam with a win over Efren. And in the matchup of the week, we had Justin versus David. Justin started out on top, and then David took the lead and kind of held it throughout the week. And then Justin with a comeback to get it close to force a Sunday showdown. Justin likes these Sunday showdowns. I'm starting to think he likes the drama. But Justin with the comeback win, big win over David. So matchup of the week, Justin versus David. Good W, Justin and everybody else who got a win this week to finish off the first half of the season. Records for next week: 12 Efren, 2-8. 11 Joe, 3-7. 10 Carlos, 3-7. 9 Ray, 3-7. 8 Dale, 5-5. 7 Adam, 5-5. 6 AJ, 5-5. 5 Moises, 5-5. And 4 Justin, 5-5. Then David at 3 at 7-3. Alejandro at 2 at 8-2. And me at the 1 spot at 9-1. Matchups for next week. Now, remember, next week is the last week that you have faced everybody once, but the next week opponents, you will not face them again unless you face them in the playoffs for some reason. This week, the team you played this week that just ended will be the last team you play in week 20 in the last week of the season. So next week's opponents will be the one time you face them during the season. Week 11 matchups: Efren versus Justin, Adam versus Joe, me versus Carlos, Ray versus Dale, and AJ versus Moy. A few good matchups there. I like it a lot. So, quick points to kind of talk about in the comment section, or maybe to kind of get your thoughts going if you guys want to chime in. But the first half of the season, some things we can clearly see and some kind of projections for the future. First off, 4 through 8 have 500 records. It's been pretty consistent with this league for the last 3 years that a 500 record will put you in contention for the playoffs. Now, it's almost a sure shot that you will make the playoffs if you get a 500 record. So does that mean the magic number is 5 for a lot of teams? You know, can you get to 5 wins in the next 10 weeks? Don't know. But if 500 is the marker for playoffs, and those teams who are in the 9, 10, 11, and 12 spot, if you don't start getting some wins soon, are you within the next couple weeks? Are you in a must-win situation now, or else you're going to be sellers? And if you don't get a couple wins in the next 2 weeks, because, for example, those who are 3 and 7, to get to 500, you would have to flip it and go 7 and 3 in the back half. So, something to think about. And if you are sellers, that means trades. And trades have been happening this first half. I have 6 of them. I am always a sucker for trades. I love the kind of general manager part of this league. It's one of my vices with this league. But having said that, I apologize for anybody I've been blowing up your phones, I know, and I hope I haven't been disrupting work, and I'm sorry if I have. But trades. And some people are trading ads. Ads have now become a very high demand and are becoming high prices. So, something to consider. And then the last thing is, with the first half, we've been seeing matchups that are tight, no matter what your ranking is. But we are still seeing separation. Teams 1 through 3, that group 4 through 8, and then 9 through 12. There isn't very much movement, dramatic movement from 1 through 3 so far, outside of moving out of the top 3. 4 through 8 kind of keep rotating with those teams, and then 9 through 12 continue to separate themselves. So just to see what the trajectory looks like. So what are your thoughts on the first half of the season? Very fun. I hope you guys are, getting more and more excited. I feel like it felt like 10 weeks. But we'll see what the next 10 weeks brings. All-Star break was in like 4 weeks. So, got Rocco's to look forward to, trade deadline. And let me know what your thoughts are in the first half. How do you feel about your team? Where do you see it going? And I believe Adam put a first-round pick out there. All right. You guys have a good one, and I will see you on the next one. Later.